If you're thinking whether you should visit Alexandria, or maybe you just want to learn how is life like in Egypt in general, then watch this video to find out. Hello everyone, and if you're new here, welcome to La Cita. My name is Justina. Today's video is all about Alexandria. Should you visit it during your trip to Egypt? Is it any good? How life feels like in Alexandria? But first, let me explain why I'm talking about this. I'm not just a tourist in Alexandria. I used to live here for a year with an Egyptian family. It was the first city in Egypt I have ever visited, and I got immersed into the local culture from day one. But that was 5 years ago. Now I came back to visit the city again, and I thought it might be interesting to share my thoughts with you about the city and what it used to feel like living here. Well, long story short, is it an interesting place to visit? Of course. Would I live here again? Definitely no. For sure, there are benefits of being here, but there also are strong downsides for staying in Alexandria for a prolonged period of time. Some things that were great all the time was the always fresh seafood, all the fresh juices, and seeing the sea every single day. And also quite bearable weather when compared to the rest of Egypt. However, the considerable downsides of staying here for a longer time are the extremely cramped up, tiny streets with every millimeter taken by some at least 12-story building, the noise, everyone always being late, and a lot of neglect. There are only very few places where you can relax and escape all the outdoor noise in Alexandria. Probably the only free place is the Corniche. While it's still on the street and noisy, yet it is the easiest to reach and one of the favorite places of the locals. I've also watched countless sunsets there. Amazing views. However, the beaches are only available for a paid fee. Also, considering the size of the city, it has very few parks, and each takes a fee to enter. Many times when I went to these places in Egypt, it made me remember Lithuania, where all the free things are taken for granted. Egyptians pay a lot of money for things that come free in many other countries. Anyway, even with many downsides, it was a very interesting experience to stay here. And when coming back after all this time, I am drawn to see so many places again that I missed while I was away. I missed the beautiful Montaza Park with all those palm trees on the seashore, which makes you forget that you're in a busy city. And the Citadel, the great historic monument that stands at the base of what used to be the lighthouse of Alexandria, with amazing views to the sea. Also the seaside cafes, speckled all over Corniche, and all the delicious seafood there. One of my favorite restaurants I missed the most is called Fish Market, which has a perfect view to the sea and the Citadel. Fish restaurants in Alexandria are amazing, and you can choose your own fresh fish there for grilling, which is later served with a wide variety of Egyptian side dishes. Another thing I never get enough of in Egypt are the fresh juices. From the usual orange to mango, guava, pomegranate, lime, and even sugarcane juices. It is always fresh here and so delicious. Okay, let's move on and talk about how is Alexandria on a short visit during the trip to Egypt. If you're talking about historical sites, then Alexandria is considered to be a more Greek-Roman place than ancient Egyptian. There is a Roman amphitheater, underground catacombs, and ancient city ruins. You would barely find anything here of ancient Egypt, but plenty of Roman relics. That makes a very big difference from Cairo, where everything is all about ancient Egypt. Another difference from Cairo in particular is the geographical location of Alexandria, which is being a seaside city. You'll get all the fresh seafood here and a much more fresh breath of air than Cairo, especially in summer. It is still hot here during the summer, but it's not such a boiling hell like in Cairo. And there is an option to quickly reach for some of the most beautiful beaches in the Mediterranean Sea at the north coast, which is just 100 kilometers away from the city. The bathing season is similar to all the other Mediterranean countries, from May to October. But if you're brave enough, you can extend wet season to fit your needs. This February, the weather was unusually good, but that was the first time for me to have a dip in the Mediterranean at this time of year. My previous coldest try was in November. Anyway, back to the city. If we compare with Cairo again, one can notice that Alexandria is much less touristic, so one feels here definitely more immersed into the local life. A foreigner in Cairo is quite a usual sight, but here it is much more rare, so people react differently. Maybe only the souvenir sellers remind me of Cairo, but even those are not as vicious as the ones near the pyramids. However, while we still speak of attention, I must mention something about the dress code. It would be better to be wearing clothes that are covering at least shoulders and the knees, especially if you're a woman. Most men also wear long pants here. Well, nothing will happen if you'll be wearing more revealing clothes, but the looks you might get will be quite unpleasant. And just being a tourist attracts too much attention already. By wearing more modest clothes, you'll be showing your respect to the local culture. Also, it will protect you from the sun, which can get very strong. When dressed comfortably, one can more easily enjoy the local sights and life here. Should you visit Alexandria? I think it is a very interesting and genuine place to visit, with all the history surrounding the city, especially if you like Greek and Roman history. Anyway, even with all this history, the sites in Alexandria probably are not as majestic as in Cairo, but to be fair, only very few places in the whole world can compare with Cairo. Overall, Alexandria is great to visit both for a day tour from Cairo and also for a longer stay if you're interested in the city's history and want to get immersed into the local culture or into the pristine Mediterranean Sea at the north coast. Also, I have heard that some cheap airline flights start to come to Alexandria from Milan, Italy, which will be probably the first and cheap and easy access from Europe to Egypt. However, if you want to visit Alexandria from Cairo, but the time limitation would compromise your sights in there, I would have second thoughts about visiting to Alexandria, since it requires at least a full day trip to enjoy it. In the end, it is all up to you to choose what you prefer. I just hope that my video helped you to find some answers. Thanks for watching.